thing's ever been in my lifetime.
Well, can you imagine the world ending and the Jets not winning a Super Bowl?
I couldn't. So then I'd have to be dead and be
in
unhappy.
Your lifetime, they won the Super Bowl.
I'd be dead and unhappy.
Well, I did see something today, and I know you're going to be happy about it. The Jets got a pick, and it might be Mr. Irrelevant. So if they follow what San Francisco did with Mr. Purdy, the Jets might have the Mr. Irrelevant pick this year, and maybe they'll draft their own Brock Purdy. And well, Brock hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, but he's getting there. Lost it this year, but maybe the Jets will have their own Brock Purdy if they get this Mr. Irrelevant pick.
Now, why do you say that? Oh, they do have the last and final pick?
Well, here it is. They got a compensatory pick, but it's the last three.
Okay.
I guess they got to do some whatever, and they either get the third to the last, second to last, or the last pick. So stay tuned for that, Rich. Maybe they will get a Brock Purdy.
Well, I personally think I'm starting to. The draft is coming up soon and everything. So that's why I'm kind of like more paying attention. I really have been paying attention a little bit. And I got to tell you, and I don't know if this is a popular opinion among Jet fans, but I think their first pick has to go to an offensive lineman. There's 4 offensive linemen studs in this draft. The kid from Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon, and I think Alabama. There's 4 kids that are legit studs. I really do think that. And I'm telling you right now, this may not be a popular opinion, but if Penix is there in the second round, draft Michael Penix Jr. If he is there in the second round, because there's 6 top-level quarterbacks that supposedly, that are supposed to be going, and everybody's kind of low on Penix because rumors of how he got hurt a long time ago and how he's very emotional. And I don't care, dude. You watch that guy at the combine and you listen to what people say about him and how smart he is about football and how quiet he is and how he just learns and listens. He's got a shotgun cannon for an arm. Overlook him all you want, dude, because if he is sitting there in the second round and he has to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year, give me Michael Penix any day of the week. If they're still there and they got their offensive lineman and that kid's still there in the second round, they don't take him. Listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm saying I'll be mad because I think that's what they should do, but no one really does know. But I think Penix is going to be a good quarterback, dude. I don't know. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about Caleb Williams. So Caleb Williams, he didn't want to get a physical, I guess. So the Chicago Bears really have the NFL by the balls right now because the Bears have that number 1 pick, and it's like probably the first time in 40 years that anyone cared about the Bears. But are the Bears going to draft this guy, or are they going to keep Justin Fields, trade Justin Fields? It's just mind-boggling when you cover up a physical. You're covering up something, right? Because if you're there, get the physical, the doctors, but you're saying no, so something's covering up there. And if I'm the Bears, I got to be very cautious about that, because if they draft this guy and he gets hurt and he's out of the league within 2 years, boy, they really blew it.
I mean, first, you think he's going to go first? I think Jaden Daniels might go before him.
Oh, they're saying he's going to go first, Rich. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, again, we can't predict how these kids are going to do.
This kid from Michigan, who you said, what's his name? McCarthy. The Michigan runs the ball a lot, so you really don't get the full sample size because they're not passing the ball that much. But I just don't know. I would just hold on to Justin Fields if I were the Bears. Maybe trade.
I would.
Yeah,
I would too. And the thing is too is like you're already getting a headache from Caleb Williams. You're already getting a headache if you draft the kid because half the team's not going to like him because it's like, who the hell do you think you are? That who do you think you are? Mentality. You have done nothing. You're a college athlete. That's all you are when you get to the NFL. I don't give a shit if you won the Heisman Trophy. You're a college athlete until you get punched in the mouth by a man on defense or a man on offense. That's how I feel. Okay, and I do not think. I think Caleb Williams. I was talking about this the other day. He is part of this, the part of this generation, the me generation, that is a big, and I know we're not supposed to curse on this so much, he's a big pussy. And I think maybe he's gifted athletically. Maybe he could throw the ball. Maybe he could run like Excel. But when you have men that are getting paid a lot of money to kill you, it makes your job a hell of a lot harder than some 280-pound middle linebacker that's been smoking weed in his dorm room. Well, maybe not, but like I'm talking about the level of play is just going to be upped just to a degree that I don't know if a kid like that can handle it.
No, not at all. I mean, Yeah, if I was an NFL team, I would definitely be cautious. Maybe the
Far away
Raiders,
from him.
maybe the Raiders will take him or something like that.
I
But you
would
know,
stay far away from him, dude. I think that this, and you know what they're saying too? They're saying, what's his name? Harbaugh might draft McCarthy, but why? You know what I
why?
mean? Like, why would he draft? Why? I mean, he did nothing really for him. You know what I mean? Like, the only reason why JJ McCarthy looks like a good pick is because he's part of a he's part of a national championship. He handed the ball off, right? He called the plays. I guess he had a little something to do, but that wasn't a quarterback win
Yeah,
won by a
in
quarterback.
order to be a quarterback, you got to be a leader, Rich. And
Yes.
just handing the ball off without there's no sample size, like I said. So, and plus, they got Herbert. Give the guy a chance. I mean, he's been through so many coaches already, so many offensive coordinators. Yeah, I mean, now that Harbaugh's there, maybe Herbert has a great year and stuff. The Chargers are like the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the NFL. Yeah. They look so good one year, but they finished 500 this year. They're predicted again another bad year. I mean, the Chargers are just the Chargers, and we've seen the Chargers do that for years.
Let me ask you a question. See if we're on the same page. If you could compare Justin Herbert to one quarterback, who would you compare him to? I'm not talking about old day quarterback. I'm talking modern day quarterback. If you could compare him to one guy, who do you think it would be?
Maybe Kirk Cousins. I don't know.
I think he's Matthew Stafford.
Oh, okay.
That's just my personal opinion, because I mean, the guy has talent up the ass. You can't see maybe a change of scenery, him doing what Matthew Stafford did when you actually give him an offensive line, or if you give him like a running back that decides to play on Sunday and maybe he doesn't want to play on Monday. You know what I mean? So if you get him on a team that's good, that's full force. I'm a full-time 40-hour work, employee. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's 6'6", 225 pounds, dude. And he throws the ball 90 yards.
Yep.
How could you not do something with that? And not to mention, I mean, not for a lot of injuries. In the last 10 years, what's his name's been one of the top 10 wide receivers. In the last 5
Keenan
years.
Allen, of course. Keenan Allen
is, I mean, in the last 5 years, he's been one of the top wide receivers in the game.
Yep.
So how are you a team that is struggling that bad when you have talent? It's the coach.
Yeah. Well, maybe Harbaugh solved it now. The coaches were bad. Maybe Harbaugh comes in and they start winning. Maybe Herbert has a 5,000-yard passing season this year. Maybe the Chargers go to Super Bowl. You never know. You never know. I mean, he's definitely not Pat Mahomes. We know that. There's only one Pat Mahomes.
Nobody's Pat. That's the thing. Like, we've talked so much about Pat Mahomes ad nauseum, but I mean, I could talk about him all day too. It's like nobody is Pat Mahomes, dude. I haven't ever, and I've been watching sports for a really long time. I have never seen a Pat Mahomes.
Yeah,
never seen him. Pat Mahomes that's it. That he's who he is. There's
crazy.
There's never been a football player in history besides Lawrence Taylor that changed the game the way he did, the way he does. You have to watch. Not only do you have to watch for the run and the pass, but you have to watch for his little slick little underhand pushes and the guy's a magician, dude. And there's nobody been like him ever to put on a pair of shoulders.
And Rich, don't forget he lost Tyreek Hill 2 years ago, and they won 2 Super Bowls without him. So go figure, right?
Yeah, with who? Exactly.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's like, with who as your wide receiver? I couldn't imagine if Tyreek Hill just shut the hell up. You know what I mean? And play football.
Exactly.
Could you imagine? He'd have 2,000 yards every season. Every season.
Yep.
People would be talking about Tyreek Hill as the greatest football player ever if he had Mahomes throwing him the ball.
Well, Tyreek Hill and Kelsey too. What a 1-2 punch that is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. I know we talked about, I mean, Travis Kelsey.
One quarterback that's going the opposite direction is Russell Wilson. Did you hear about Russell Wilson this week?
No, you said you had something about him. I didn't hear about this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he won 11 games in 2 years with the Broncos, and he made $124 million in winning in those 11 games. So do the math, Rich. I mean, they had the coach who's now the Jets offensive coordinator, right? The first coach he's with. They brought in Peyton this year, and the same thing happened. So Denver, here's the statistic, Rich. So Denver paid 3 times per win. Then San Francisco is paying Brock Purdy for his entire 4-year contract. Is that ridiculous? Rich, they signed him. Well, first of all, the Broncos wanted to be Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning came to Denver. he got the 2 Super Bowls. He won one, and then ironically, he lost one to Russell Wilson. But they wanted Russell Wilson to continue his Hall of Fame path. I mean, the guy's 35 years old. He's jobless right now. There is no Hall of Fame for Russell Wilson right now.
Oh.
Where's he going to go? He might go to Atlanta, might go to New England, might even go to Pittsburgh. Who knows and stuff. But he might even be a backup. But it's the worst trade in NFL history. Denver gave up 5 picks, 2 first-rounders, 3 players, and for a 5-year, $242 million contract. So by cutting him, the Broncos are now $85 million in dead cap, so they can't even spend that money this week when free agency starts, right? And I went back and looked at some other trades of quarterbacks, some other bum quarterback trades within the year. We had Carson Palmer to the Raiders, Carson Wentz to Indy, Drew Bledsoe went to Buffalo. Of course, Atlanta traded Brett Favre to Green Bay. That was a stupid trade for Atlanta, right? Chris Chandler to my Buccaneers. The Buccaneers got Chris Chandler because they thought Steve Young wasn't a good quarterback. How about that? And Jeff George, another quarterback. So we see these quarterback trades, but this might be the worst trade in NFL history, Rich, this Russell Wilson deal. I mean, no matter where he goes, he definitely regressed. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. He's not the player that was in Seattle. Don't forget, in Seattle, he had Metcalf and Lockett and stuff. Who did Denver have last year at wide receiver? Nobody,
Judy.
Right?
Right? Judy was hurt. Judy was hurt every other week.
Yeah, Judy was hurt, and I forget the other guy who was there, but yeah, I mean,
but how do you go? How do you go, Eric? How do you go? Like, you follow sports just as closely as I do. How do you go from being Russell Wilson to Russell Wilson? How do you go from Pete Carroll made Russell Wilson, and as well as if Geno Smith leaves Seattle, God bless him, get as much money as he can, but he's going to become Geno Smith again, just like Russell Wilson became Russell Wilson once he left Pete Carroll. I don't think anybody gives Pete Carroll enough credit for what he did for both of those guys, what he did for Russell Wilson and what he did for Geno Smith, and what he did for Marshawn Lynch, for that matter. Marshawn Lynch would have been out of the league if Pete Carroll didn't say, "Wait a second,
right?
This is something weird." But he's a good football player. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think Pete Carroll gets enough.
In fact, though, Rich, Pete Carroll's with the Jets. He couldn't do it with the Jets. All of a sudden, he goes to Seattle, and he's a great coach, right? Amazing, right?
And that was one. I mean, I was mad. They gave him 1 season, and they got rid of him. 1 season. And this guy right now is going to go down in history as one of the most iconic coaches ever to put on a headset. And the Jets gave him 1 year and said, "I don't think you're going to work out, Pete."
Yep, it's crazy. Same thing with Rich Kotite too. They gave Kotite that 1 year as well. Remember that? I think we won 1-15 that year. But yeah, this Russell Wilson thing, how it's going to pan out, we all know free agency is going to start this week.
Yes.
I mean, geez, what team's going to take a chance on him? Basically,
I personally, I don't think anybody. Now let's start our conversation, like I said, about what I got a question for you. Okay, there's a lot of people that are going to become free agents out there. Okay,
yeah.
You're hearing a lot of things about. There's a lot of running backs. There's a lot of this, a lot of that. There's 6 running backs, high-level running backs right now. They're going to be looking for work. Okay, now, which one of those guys do you think is going to make a situation better? Like I, for instance, I'll tell you what I feel. Out of all of those situations going on, I think you're looking at a possible Super Bowl champion if Houston signs Saquon Barkley.
Oh, I was just thinking about that, Rich. Yeah, definitely.
And what's his name? They've been seen talking. The quarterback there. What's his name? Quickly.
CJ Stroud, right?
CJ Stroud and Saquon Barkley. Put Saquon Barkley on that offense, dude, with a purpose, with a 22-year-old kid that plays the position like his head's on fire. I mean, what's going to stop them? They made the playoffs this year. What were they +7 from the year before as far as wins?
Yeah.
Now, to me, that seems like one of the most impactful trades or free agent signings that could happen right now. I don't know if you agree or if you have something else, but Mike Evans going back to Tampa Bay is another very impactful thing for Tampa Bay.
I'm going to talk about that.
Even I don't think they're going to be that good next year, but that was very impactful for them because if they lose him, no quarterback's going to want to come to Tampa Bay. So that's another one I think that was very big, and that's done already.
Yeah. So Mike Evans, 10 years in the league, 1,000 yards every season, very quietly, Rich. And the guy, he really has no baggage on him, no controversies. He had that one controversy where he kneeled for the Star Spangled Banner, but he came out and apologized to the military, saying that he shouldn't have done that. And every protest he has will be done through an organization, whatever, and stuff like that from now on. So I think it really embarrassed him what he did on the field. But here's a guy that came out of college, Buccaneers first-round draft pick in 2014. And, the funny thing along the way, Rich, he's got like 1,000 yards per season. But, he's had 7 quarterbacks. So he had Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Blaine Gabbert, Tom Brady, and of course Baker Mayfield. So he only had 3,000 yards from Brady. So a lot of these yards came from the other quarterbacks, Rich. You got
it. I think now you're going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but Mike Evans, unbelievable. I think at some point, like when you're talking about great players, you kind of have to take into consideration who they're playing with, especially like with a wide receiver. Or even a running back for that, man. More like a wide receiver, a running back, more like an offensive line. I truly think that if Barry Sanders had Dallas Cowboys offensive line, he would have ran for maybe 3,000 yards every year. But you got to take in, you just brought up a really good point. The guy's a consummate 1,000 yards, okay, over 100 receptions with who throwing them the football. Super Bowl champion, Tom Brady. Yeah, for 1 year. Well, for 2 years. But you just riddled off a bunch of names that they're not winning Super Bowls. They're not playing on high levels. Baker Mayfield's starting to show a little shit now, but are you kidding me? And so I think that at some point, like when you think like, look at the quarterback that was throwing them the football. You know what I mean?
We could both agree Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You know what, though? He could have tested the free agency waters, Rich, but I think he wanted to stay in Tampa. I think he liked his rapport. Baker's not signed yet even, but I think Baker will come back because he was taking batting practice with the Yankees yesterday, and the Yankees facility is like right across the street from Raymond James. So I think Baker will be coming back. But the Buccaneers' MO was to let him test the free agency waters and then come back to them, but it didn't even get the free agency. So 2-year contract worth $52 million and basically a buck for life. He's only 30 years old. He's 33rd all-time list of receiving. And if he gets 2,000 yards the next 2 years, he's in the top 15. He's only one of 8 receivers in that top 30, whatever, that's only played for one team. So we rarely see guys play for one team anymore. But, he wanted to stay in Tampa. He wants to win another Super Bowl. And not only that, if they bring back Baker, they put the franchise tag on Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, the band is coming back, and Tampa's a really nice place to play. We know with the weather, they won the division last year. And, if you're a free agent, it's like, why not go to Tampa? It's a crappy division. All you got to do is win 9 games and excel in the playoffs and stuff. I know they won that first playoff game with the Eagles. The Eagles never showed up. Went to Detroit, got spanked around by the Lions, of course. We all know the Lions went next week and they got spanked by the 49ers. But free agency is really going to be attractive to a guy. There's no state tax too in Florida, right? So, and
what's the name of the Tampa Bay? Who owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What's the guy's name?
The Glazer family owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they own the Manchester United soccer team. So
it didn't even go. You know why it didn't go to free agency? Because this is what happened. I'm gonna set up a little scenario for you. Okay, it's like 6:30 a.m. Sun's coming up in Tampa. I don't even know if this kid's married or not. He's probably not married. Probably went to bed early.
He's married, 3 kids.
He is married. He's got his wife next to him, and they're laying down. Phone rings at like 8 o'clock. He picks it up and says, "Hey, this is Mr. Glazer from the what do you call it? Well, we understand you're going to test free agency. Just see what you got going on out there, and give me a call. Let's see what's going on." Got up, went for a run. He looked around and says, "What, am I crazy? This place is absolutely beautiful. People are going to. I'm not leaving Tampa." So in his mind, the minute that offer was given to him that he could go fresh to free agency, he stepped out on his beautiful balcony or wherever he lives, looked at the weather, looked at the ocean, and said, "I'm not going anywhere." And I think that's got to be a draw to guys that have been in the league for a little while. Tampa Bay doesn't suck. They're pretty good, and they can make themselves better. I'm not saying Mike Evans is running around next year saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. But you know what, though? No. I'm in a nice place. They like me here. Baker's doing well. Let's give it a run.
Yeah, Rich, if you had a choice, Tampa or going to Cleveland, where would you pick?
Tampa every single day of the week. Mm-hmm. No doubt. Why would you even want to go to Cleveland and play?
Amazing.
Unless you're a football player, straight up football player. You don't care about like quality of life. You just get in there and you just want to beat the shit out of people and chew people's ears off. All right, then you go to Cleveland, then you go to like places like that. But if you're a guy that wants a good quality of life and wants to like a little longevity, go to Tampa, go to Miami, go to freaking San Diego. Even though San Diego's no, San Diego,
Los Angeles.
Whatever. Go to LA.
Yep.
You know, LA, whatever. They were supposed to win 3 games last year. But you know what? They're in LA. Who knows? Everything happens in LA.
Rich, I would even go to Las Vegas. Right?
Vegas. Why not? These are beautiful places to live. The quality of life is just so much better. Go to Arizona. Arizona is in shambles, but it's probably got the best weather, hands down, in the entire country. So these are things that people do take into consideration. I have to think that.
You could go.
Who's going to want to go? What are you going to say? Like, you know, you're in the league 10 years, when all of a sudden, like, Buffalo's looking really good. And you're like, oh my God, Buffalo might sign me. And you're playing in Miami right now. Are you going to want to go to Buffalo? Playing in Miami?
Actually, Evans was rumored to go to Buffalo, believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly. He looked outside and saw Tampa. It's not going to Buffalo.
He scored 50 feet of snow in the playoff game. But
Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen came out in the same draft.
I was saying he can go to Kansas City. But did you see those Chiefs fans, Rich? It's just coming out now that they're losing their fingers, their limbs, their arms, their hands, because they all got frostbite from that one game. There was one woman, she said she took her gloves off for 5 minutes, and now she's going to lose all her fingers. It's just mind-boggling.
Eric, there's no way any of those stories are true. Maybe 5 of them are true. People are trying to cash in on that.
You know what, Rich?
I have worked in sub-zero temperatures with wind 60 mile an hour whipping in my face, and I went out there to go to work. I did a goddamn football game.
I did see it in the New York Post, so you know how valid could it be, right?
People are trying to cash in. Of course, one person probably got frostbite, and everybody else was like, you know what? I was a little cold that day too. Come on. It's what's going on in America right now.
Rich,
everybody's getting money. Everyone, sue.
Oh,
Get money.
Of course. I just want to take it back to Mike Evans. In 10 years, he's only missed 8 games.
I'll talk about him all day. I love Mike Evans.
He missed 8 games in 10 years. And one of those games was because he took Marcus Lattimore on the Saints and threw him to the ground and got suspended. So one game was just that's durability, if you ask me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In football, and you're a wide receiver playing at a high level, you miss 8 games. Yeah, absolutely. That's 1,000%. I like him, and I think he made the right decision staying in Tampa. And who's to say Baker Mayfield doesn't have like one more splash of maybe I can do something? You know, for the next maybe 2 years. I think Baker Mayfield maybe this year came down to earth and realized who he was, because I think he always played on that Johnny Manziel type stuff, like I'm the best. Look at me taking pictures. But I think maybe now he's getting a little bit older, Baker Mayfield. He's like, all right, I'm a little older now. It's like, I still got my skill about me. Let's try and win here and not be such a dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely all about maturity. Yeah, he's not in Cleveland. Yeah. Oh, look, he did the reversal, Rich. He went to start in Cleveland. Now he's in Tampa. So, maybe the cold air did it to him or something like that, right?
So, in other words, he's in Tampa now. He's never leaving. Buffalo calls, Pittsburgh calls. He is not going anywhere. I'll retire if Tampa Bay doesn't want to sign me right now.
Maybe, Russell Wilson will go to Pittsburgh because he wants to have a job. But, it's crazy. So Rich, where are your Jets going? Zach Wilson, what's up with that? I know Woody Johnson says he doesn't want him, basically. He's out. Are they going to trade him, or he's still under contract, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's still under contract. Now you're gonna have me talk about the Jets. I think, they're going to get rid of him. Okay, first off, and I think I know where he's going to go. I think they're going to trade him to San Francisco.
Oh wow,
I do. I think they're going to trade him to San Francisco just because there's all the rumors that they were the only other team besides the Jets that were really looking at him. I don't know. Maybe he'll go to San Francisco. Actually, no, I don't think he's going to go to San Francisco. They're not going to put 2 Jet losers on there. Sam Darnold's already out there. But I think that he's probably going to get traded somewhere. And I hate to say it, but I could be wrong. I think you're going to be talking about him like Tim Couch, something like that in a couple of years. So you're going to be talking about him like not even a guy, not even like what's his name? You just mentioned what's his name? I forgot his name, but those quarterbacks that have just been around the league for like 13, 14 years and played for 13 different teams. I don't even think he's going to be that guy. He's going to be, remember Zach Wilson? Yeah, his mom was pretty hot. That's pretty much what we're going to remember about Zach Wilson.
Maybe
what I do think is like what I said to you before, and I really truly mean that.
Maybe he'll go to the Giants, Rich.
Maybe. He can't play football, Eric. He's not a football player, dude.
Nope.
And look, I get it. You heard Shaquille O'Neal the other day, dude. You heard Shaquille O'Neal going nuts on Chris Russo the other day about not being an athlete.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God.
I gotta get the snip on that. I could just
You
do a
gotta you
snip.
gotta look that up because, and you know what though? At the end of the day, Shaquille O'Neal says what he wants whenever he wants, and he's 100% right with what he's saying. He's calling himself and others like him G14 athletes. We played the game at a high level. We're Hall of Famers. Don't tell me what I perceive on the football field as being lazy, or don't
Wow.
tell me what I perceive is wrong and what you perceive is right. You never picked up a football in your entire life or a basketball in your entire life. Shaquille O'Neal ripped Mad Dog the other day, and I love it because I hate Mad Dog. I can't stand Mad Dog. He irks me to a core whenever time I hear his voice because he does. How is he making $80 million doing what me and you are doing right now?
Yep.
How? Whatever. That's another tangent. But he's right though. So when I think about the fact that we could say we want about athletes, but athletes know athletes, and we just perceive what we see on the field. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know what to expect because I
Well,
really do feel that Mekhi Becton was very lazy this year.
right.
I really do feel that the entire offensive line just was not good football players. Not even that they're lazy. I can't even call men lazy that are playing football because I just think they're just not good football players.
Yeah.
Or they're not in the right system.
I think it's the coaching staff too, Rich.
Yes. I don't know why. Listen, he might be a nice guy, but why Salah got a second shot or a third shot just because Aaron Rodgers wasn't ready to go this year? No, you should have fired him, dude. Should have fired him and everybody else on that staff. And again, you don't want to look at somebody and say you should be fired. But if you want to fix the problem as fans and as me perceiving my team as sucking, there was no discipline on that team. They were the most penalized team in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what that shows me? They're not disciplined, and that's because of the coach.
Lack of coaching. Yep.
Yeah, lack of coaching. Okay. Now the GM's job is kind of like gambling. The GM's job is like playing roulette. You know what I mean? Like you can do all the research you want about how many times the ball falls on red. It's going to fall on black sometimes. It's going to fall on another color sometimes. But the fact of the matter is you're doing your research. It doesn't always pan out. So the GM's job is a little tougher. The coach's job is straightforward. You are men. You play football for me, and this is my scheme. He lost the locker room and all the talk about everybody talking behind each other's back and this, that, and the other thing. You can't have that. You can't have that. And I think Aaron Rodgers, I guess, has to go in next year and take that team and just smack them all in the ass and say, let's go.
Yep.
I don't think that they're going to make smart choices. I don't think so. Just because of their record.
Yeah, well, it's the this is it for them, for both Douglas and Salah if they don't produce this year. Woody Johnson says 7 wins doesn't cut the mustard for him, so we shall see.
Woody Johnson did sell the team to Steve Cohen. Woody Johnson knows nothing about football, dude. Nothing at all about football.
Steve Cohen know about football though, Rich?
He has more money, and I think he's more passionate about his team than Woody Johnson. I'm not saying he knows more. I think he's more passionate.
Oh yeah,
Mark Cuban, like guys like that. You need owners like that. Like he's not an owner. He's like, hey, me and my buddy's got a fantasy team. My fantasy team's the New York Jets. I think, what? Yeah, I'm a billionaire. I just picked the Jets. I think that a lot of those owners, I think they play that game. You know what I mean? Where it's just a write-off. I'm writing off all this stuff because I own the building and I own the team, and this is just my bullshit. You know what I mean? Because I think Woody Johnson's that kind of owner. Where I think is a guy like Bob Kraft, you like him or not like him, I think he's all in with the football, dude. I really do.
But then you have Jerry Jones too, Rich. Look at Jerry Jones. He's the ultimate douche, right?
Too much. He's too much in.
See, that's the thing. You have your extremes. You have your too much. You have your none. You need somebody like right in the middle, basically.
Yeah, but I think again, I go back to Mark Cuban. I think he's the consummate owner in sports because Mark Cuban is
players love Cuban. I mean, what he did for the players. Yep.
Yeah. The guy could literally sit in the middle. The guy's a multi-billionaire. He's on TV. He could literally in that stadium sit in the nosebleed seats one night and just hang out and drink beers with the fans, and nothing will happen to him.
Right.
It's like you just chill out with the normal people. You know what I mean? He does that a lot too.
Of course. Of course.
Not to mention he's got the best player on the planet on his team right now. And I got to tell you, we're going to talk about NBA in a little while, but I am waiting, and it's going to happen. There's only about 15 games left. I am waiting for an aggressive altercation between Luka and Kyrie. I am waiting for Luka to grab Kyrie by the throat in the middle of the court, in the middle of a game, and tell him, why don't you play like this all the time? You're lazy. You see the way he looks at him on the court? He never
That's
passes
why,
him the
look,
basketball.
Rich, you see their record? You see their record? I mean, they have two
Did you see what he did the other night?
Yeah.
Now, now if you watch what he did the other night in Boston, all right, when they played Boston, now Boston's the best. Listen, they're my team. They're the best team in the NBA right now, hands down. Nobody's beating them right now. What he did the other night was score. All right, my teammates are around. All right, let's try and be a teammate and pass the ball. Going down the court, passes it off to this one, misses an open three-pointer, passes it up to this one, open alley-oop. He gave it 1 quarter, and then he went back in the third quarter and says, I'm just going to start scoring again. So instead, he went back and started scoring. So he's got to be frustrated, dude, because you want to talk about Kyrie Irving, who everybody thinks is this great basketball player. You are with the best player in the NBA right now. Act like a man and play basketball. I don't know if you're perceiving it that way too, but I think something is going to happen on the court because that bullshit is not going to fly.
Rich, we've seen it too many times. Kyrie in Cleveland, Kyrie in Boston, Kyrie in Brooklyn, now Kyrie in Dallas. I mean,
but I think the difference is Luka's not Kevin Durant's not Luka. I mean, Luka I think has more of an edge than a lot of these guys. Like I think you're going to see that Slavic anger come out if he misses the playoffs again.
Yeah. Now, I was watching the other night. I got the NBA League Pass. So when you watch it, you get like what the arena feel before the game, and they're showing like the players before the game, before they come out, they're just dancing around in this like lobby with fans. So there was every player on the Dallas Mavericks in that having fun except one guy, Kyrie wasn't there.
Yeah,
but he started the game nonetheless. But and the announcer goes, "Here's your Dallas Mavericks," and there's no Kyrie coming out either. It's like it's just amazing.
You know, you put this guy wants to go down in history as like one of the greats. I mean, you put him on these teams and he's just a headache. He's just a weird guy, I guess. I don't know, but I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for this altercation to happen because I am watching Dallas because I really do like watching him play, man. And I do check in on Denver too because I love Jokic. You know, and it's I want to see if I could say this without sounding just I don't know. Do you think that there's something going on right now in the NBA? Now, think of like the greatest NBA players. Like you could pull out Bird, you could pull out, let's call them, the best players in the NBA ever were all black players, right? All of them, which is, that's the sport that, a lot of black people are really good at it. Okay. Now you got Jokic and you got Luka coming into the league now. Okay. I would think for me, if I was around a bunch of guys who we've dominated this sport for how many years, we're top athletes in our sport, and we see people like Kyrie, and we see people like Harden, and we see people like Embiid, and we're like, listen, guys, what's going on here, bro? We got two guys, wherever they're from, guys killing us right now, killing us. And what's going on? So there's got to be some kind of pride to these players that carried this game for so long to have these two guys in the league right now that are saying, this isn't your game anymore. This is our game now. This is a European game now. This is a tough man's game where flash means nothing. It's like, you know what? Jokic, I'm 7 feet tall, but